Hey guys, wanted to talk today about the 21 million Bitcoin cap and why I think it's the worst design ever. In a decentralized currency, you simply cannot have a cap on the number of coins. You need to have low inflation forever, precisely because at some point you're going to run out of coins. People are going to die. They're not going to properly handle passing their Bitcoin on to other people. There's just too many factors that lead to eventually Bitcoin being completely locked up. I know we have well over 100 years before that happens because the algorithm will continue to release coins for over 100 years. But, just like this article says, it says around 20%. I suspect it's more of Bitcoin is currently gone forever. I know I've personally lost some Bitcoin on a Trezor. I made a mistake. Um, I know many other people who have made similar mistakes. Um, so at some point, all the Bitcoin is going to be locked up. And when I present this argument to people, their first answer is, "Oh, but it's infinitely indivisible." And I say, "Yeah, I'm a software developer. I get that. Even if there's one Satoshi left, right, we can expand the number of digits that's recognized from 8 to 16, 32, 64, whatever. It doesn't matter. 100 digits out. And now we can divide that one Satoshi up and make it seem like it's, 21 quadrillion coins or whatever. Doesn't matter. At some point, that is also going to, be locked up and, people are going to make mistakes. They're going to lose their Bitcoin. They're going to die. There's going to be some kind of horrible event on Earth. So even the most careful people like the Winklevis who, took a, multi-sig wallets and supposedly deposited them in safe deposit boxes all over the U.S. What if there's a nuclear attack? Those 100,000 Bitcoin that the Winklevi have are gone. So I think there could have been a much better way. And then there's also the fact that the way the algorithm is currently constructed is that it's ever decreasing based on time. So there's no incentive for a kid that's born now in 2022 when he's 20 years old. In 20 years it's going to be what is it, about a 16th release of what it is now. Less than a Bitcoin. There is no incentive for people that get started late in the game to get involved. What I think would have been a better approach would be to programmatically release coins based on the difficulty. So one example that I could think of is, taking like the log of the difficulty. And let me see if I have, yeah. So like here, for example, let's look at the current difficulty of a Bitcoin block. I don't know if this is the latest block, but no, it's a couple hours old. Let me just refresh this page. Get the latest block. Not that it matters. Oh, maybe not. All right, let's just assume this is the latest block. And I guess I could keep going. Keep clicking next until we get to the latest block, but this doesn't matter. The point is this. The difficulty is based on, finding a SHA hash with a certain number of zeros in front. That looks like it's about 20 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, about 20. So what you could do is, again, this is just an example. There's many ways to design it, but this I would think would be more fair. So the more people involved, trying to find the, the difficulty to be mined, the greater the number of zeros that have to be found padded in front. You could do something like a log. You just say, hey, like 0x, tell it that it's a X number. So right here we have like 123, the log of this number for the hash for that winning block. And then we could say something like, 123 divided by, let's say, the number of zeros. so that it's an ever decreasing amount. Right, 6. So this is very close to the number that we're at right now anyway, as far as being released. I think we're at, what, 6.25? Now, if we, by example, let's say the difficulty goes down, so if the difficulty goes down, so like here's the first block, there was only 8 zeros. We could do the log of that number, which should be a little bit higher. And right, so 154, and let's say, right, there was, I think, 8 zeros in there. So we could say like 154 divided by 8. Oh, the question mark. It's Python. Right, like in the, when the difficulty is low, you get more coins. When the difficulty is high, you get less coins. That's more equitable. The more people that are trying to find the coins and are actively involved, make it on a metric like that. There's tons of other ways to do it too. I happen to like the way that Grin does it. Grin releases, I think, 1 coin per minute. And I don't know if Grin is proof of stake or proof of work. I love Pivx. Pivx releases similar to Dash, but with like proof of stake. It'll release like whatever it is. I think it's like 6 coins a minute. I think it's like 2 to the master node, 2 to the staker, and then I think 2 goes into like the treasury, similar to Dash. Ethereum is low inflation forever, and you need this in any kind of decentralized system. You absolutely need this. At some point, all the coins are going to be locked up. It's more equitable. It's more fair. I mean, even if Satoshi had said, okay, when we get down to 1 coin or 1 Satoshi, whatever, just in perpetuity, let those coins keep being released. And I wonder if Satoshi only put a cap on the coins because of the data types that were available. Satoshi claims that, or I've heard, I don't know if Satoshi claimed this, but I've heard stories that Satoshi is not a good developer. I think Gavin Andreessen said that, the first person to take over the code base from Satoshi. And I think he kind of hinted in a nice way that Satoshi was not a good developer. So, maybe, right, he thought he was limited by the data type of a large integer or something like that. And, maybe didn't know how to do large numbers, like Python does naturally. So maybe that's why he built in the cap. I'm not sure. But I do love Bitcoin. I'm not bashing Bitcoin. But I also think a decentralized coin has to have, just low inflation forever, regardless of how you set up your algorithm for, release of the coins. Now, CBDC is definitely coming. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think many people are, but, the overlords that rule us have decided that, this is the way it's going to be. And I think Nigeria is pushing with a project. Obviously, China has done some testing, and I think some other places. So it's coming, and there's not much we can do about it. So with a CBDC, it's centralized. So they have control of all of the coins. I mean, you don't even need to have a master key. I mean, if it's centralized, it's just a database transaction at that point. So if they say, hey, there's only going to be 21 trillion or $30 trillion in circulation, they'll be able to simply tax your account at any point. So if there's, I think the current debt is 30 something trillion. I'm not sure if that's a actual reflection of the cash that's circulating, but if it is, everybody will put their cash in a Federal Reserve bank account. They'll have access to it via an app, the CBDC app on their phone, and then they can tax it at will. So in a closed loop, centralized system, you don't need inflation. Actually, you want the exact opposite. You don't want inflation. But in a decentralized system, you absolutely need a little bit of inflation. Even 1 Satoshi in perpetuity would have been better than just cutting it off, in 100, whatever it is, 100 years, 140 years, I think.